Okay, we are live. Welcome, ladies, to our new edition of Rise of the Chingonas. And we have Victoria. Let me let her in before we start. She just joined. She's just joining us.
Yay!
So we're going to start our series this time with Miss Tami Price. We are very fortunate to have so many of our R.I.S.E queens so knowledgeable, and we're very thankful that you are willing to share all that knowledge with us, Tami.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
All right. So today I'm going to just share a little bit, a lot of information on Google business profile listings. If you don't have one, I highly recommend having it and starting, working on it, adding to it, building it out before the platform itself switches to managing on Google Maps, because it's a little more cumbersome to do on Google Maps than it is right now by logging in online. So if you're not familiar with what a Google business profile listing is, it's an absolutely 100% free tool provided to business owners by Google. You can manage it, put in your contact information, and it's helpful because when people are doing online searches, they typically Google, right? If they're looking for a realtor in San Antonio, Texas, they're going to type in realtors near me, realtors in San Antonio, Texas. So since it's a free tool to utilize, go ahead and create your own profile listing and start giving yourself the opportunity to share contact information, business hours, services provided, and so much more. And here's the deal, whether you like it or not, your business will eventually get listed on Google. And I know that I want to be in control of the information that's being put out there. Anyone can go and claim your business if you're not claiming it, and I don't want someone else claiming my business. So I have my listing created. And another important thing about Google business profile listings is it's optimized, so it allows people to search and find additional information about you. And when you look at SEO, we know SEO is huge. By having your profile listing updated, managed, fed on a consistent basis, you're allowing Google as a search engine to constantly look through your page and find helpful information. So when people are conducting searches, your information is coming up in there. So when we look at real estate, we know how important location is. So when we're talking about Google, having location authority is really critical, because that location authority is built through the information that you're putting in there. And again, when people start searching, they search by certain terms. If Google doesn't realize you're a realtor in San Antonio, or you haven't enough SEO built up, you won't come up in those searches. Or if you do, you'll come up pretty far down in the search. So let's talk about building your Google business profile so that you do start coming up in searches. There's so many different ways that Google pulls information and how they have their location of how that location authority works. When you're looking at location authority, there are a couple factors that come into play that are on your profile. It's your basic information like your address, phone number, how many photos that you have geotagged to your location, the number of reviews, the quality of your responses to reviews, the questions and answers that are on your profile listing. For those of you that may have set up a Google profile listing a long time ago when it was Google My Business, get in there and start playing around with it. Because if you haven't updated it recently, or you haven't added any photos or reviews, you're really missing out on some free opportunities. Because with every update that Google makes to its algorithm, it's becoming so much more important to have that updated information, especially because if you know, I think of it like social media. If you're not updating social media accounts, people think it's like crickets. Where have you gone? Are you not doing business anymore? Are you not taking on new business? Or are you just kind of taking a pause, right? So when you get an opportunity, I want you to take a test. Type in certain search phrases and see how you fare on Google. Are you coming up in those searches? Some of the people who pay to be who are Google screened, they'll come up a little higher in searches, but most people know that when they're on Google and there's a top list, they know it's an ad. So most people will start skipping down to see who else is coming up that they may want to engage with. So this is just a screenshot here of when I Google myself, what comes up. My Google business page comes up, but again, I'll admit partially because I'm the one doing the search, right? But it also shows a number of other ways that I come up when I type in just my name. It didn't add realtor or anything else, but so do a search on yourself when you have an opportunity. So if your business profile isn't showing up, or doesn't appear anywhere, like if you searched Stone Oak realtors, right? Then there are a couple of ways that you can tackle this and help get up into the searches. But three of the ways Google looks at location authority and the strength of that is by the radius. Radius basically applies to where are you coming up in proximity to where the searcher is looking, right? I have an address in Stone Oak, so someone who's conducting a search in Stone Oak, I have a better chance of coming up in that search result than someone who may be searching at an office that's located off of 151, unless they have geotagged a number of photos to the Stone Oak location. Your reviews, the quantity, quality, and the frequency of reviews matters when it comes to location authority and you coming up in these results. Responsiveness. If someone taps the number on your profile listing and calls, answer the phone, call them back, because Google kind of tracks that stuff. So when we're talking about maximizing location authority, we want to make sure you actually have an account. Even if you have an account, have you looked at it? Are there reasons that you're not coming up? Maybe it's the name of your business. So when we're talking about your Google business profile listing, a number of agents that have reached out to me and weren't coming up in searches, it was for reasons like, my name is Tami Price, right? I have my business name is Tami Price Properties Group, but Tami Price is in my business name. So I have a colleague, her name is Patricia Ann Young. On Google, she's follow my heels home. So Google did not make that connection. So when I typed in her name, I couldn't get to her Google profile listing. So with some minor tweaks, we were able to go back through the steps, rename her page, and then go through a number of other steps to help her stand out a little bit more. On this screen, there's just some subcategories and some information that's important to have out there. I'm going to walk you through those steps now. So when you're creating your Google business profile, you want to log in, and from your Gmail account, you have to have a Gmail account, and begin creating. So here's what, here's the page that you should see to get started. Now, I built a dummy one just to have some slides to reference. So in the first, in the business name, you want to put a name, either your name, let's say if I were starting over again, Tami Price, hyphen realtor, comma, I'm going to put in my brokerage just because I want to be compliant. And then I'm going to put in San Antonio, Texas, because I know that Google, it looks at location, location, location. So I've identified where I am. Okay. Next important thing is when you're categorizing your business, we all tend to want to put real estate agent first. Put real estate agency, because that gets more attraction than just putting in real estate agent. You can add real estate agent next, and then you can add real estate consultant, whatever, if you do staging and design, you can add that in there too. And now you want to set your location. Many of us, we have so many different ways of operating. Some of us are in an office and some of us are under service areas because we're at cloud-based brokerages. So how you set up your location will depend on what type of business you are. Are you brick and mortar? Or do you have a brick and mortar address? Or are you going to advertise as being a service area? So if you're brick and mortar, you'll want to enter character for character, your physical address. And once that's entered, you want to make sure the pin is dropped in the proper location. For some reason, even though mine is dropped in the proper location, people still want to come through a side door that is a private office and not the main entrance. So make sure that location pin is dropped accordingly. Next, if you are a service, if you're at a cloud-based brokerage and you don't office at a physical office, you want to make sure that you set yours up as a service area. That can be based on city, it can be based on counties, states, zip codes, and so on. I have both. I have both a physical address and I've listed service areas. I listed a number of different cities, right? San Antonio, Helotes, Fair Oaks, Bernie, Converse, Selma, Cibolo, Schertz, Floresville, wherever you service, enter those different cities so that when Google is searching behind the scenes, it knows that, hey, this is somewhere that Tami Price will work. There's some places I won't go. I won't go to Austin. I don't know Austin well enough. Now, new construction, I'm your gal, but that crazy market's not for me. So contact details. Enter the phone number that you're actually going to answer. If you have an assistant and your assistant is diligent about answering the phone, then you can put this number there. But I have found over the years that having the number that comes directly to me is the best. Enter your website URL. This is so important because there's so much information that Google pulls from your website and displays on your business profile listing. So, a lot of people will say, hey, Tami, but my social links aren't showing up. Well, if your social links aren't on your website, they won't show up on your Google business profile listing. So make sure that you're entering your website and your website has your social links on there, Facebook, Instagram. If you have a YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it is that you have for a social link, make sure those are on your website. And I talk fast, so there are a number of ways that Google will ask you to verify your account. Some people have been able to get around the postcard in the mail and do an instant online, but I've found that there's no real consistency. If you're advertising as a service area, you have a better opportunity of being able to instantly verify. But if you are at an office location, it's going to want to send you a postcard. It looks like junk mail. So please, 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 when you get that, take that verification code and enter it so that your profile listing is verified. Now, once you have completed your profile, again, Google will pull information from your website. So if you were to look at, I did screen share and now it doesn't, I want to be able to do something. Let me see. Should be, have other sites open. Anyway, was going to show you some stuff online. I'll figure that out in a minute. But, you know, again, they have everything in your social media links are going to be on your actual profile. So sometimes when people, sometimes some folks' information doesn't show up the right way, there are ways that you can get it to properly show up by entering what's called schema data. And that's just a cumbersome step, but here are some tools that you can use to help you enter schema data if your website does not allow you to add those social links. Okay, so how do you maximize your Google location authority? Well, this can be done in many different ways. Keep feeding your page, man. Get to 100 photos, and not just 100 photos, but 100 geotag photos. Have 10 plus videos, and you can do photos of behind the scenes, you in your office, Canva creations, take your reviews and put them on a Canva image to use as a photo, but always, always, always geotag your photos, and I will walk you through how to do that. So here is a tool that I utilize when I want to geotag photos. GeoImager is roughly $10 a month. And when you use it, you can upload your photos. You can geotag photos to locations. So the first step is to decide, am I going to geotag it to my office address or my business? Or do I want to, let's say it's listing photos. Geotag those listing photos to the listing address. You remember when I said proximity to the searcher is key? This is a way that you can build on that proximity or that radius. If somebody is searching for, you know, conducting a Google search and they're in 78251, if I have enough geotagged photos to 78251 or an address in 78251, I have a greater likelihood of coming up in that search because I have geotagged photos to that zip code telling Google, hey, Google, I do business in this area, right? So geotagging photos is super important. Another aspect of geotagging photos is that you can put keywords into there as well. Those keywords are going to be words that you want to be behind the scenes helping you rank. So I use keywords like, well, first, my name, Tami Price, realtor, real estate agent, San Antonio, Texas realtor, my brokerage. I do a lot of business with military people, so I put military friendly agent in there. And depending on, you know, what the photo is, I may add something in there. Maybe I add Stono, maybe I add listing, seller, buyer, whatever it is that I want to be embedded into that image. I put those keywords in there. Once everything is set up, you can overwrite the photo and tag it and then download it and use it moving forward. And I'll walk through that here in a minute because for some reason, even though I'm screen sharing everything, it's not allowing me to do what I normally do. Okay, so next slide. Reviews. Reviews are super, super important because not only does it provide people who are landing on your profile an opportunity to see what others have to say about you, but you have an opportunity to respond. When you're responding to reviews on your profile, you want to make sure that in your response, you include keywords in there, right? Thank you for allowing me to be your realtor, for helping you find a home in San Antonio, Texas, right? Because Google, again, is constantly screening everything on your page, looking for reasons to put you in front of other people who are looking for a realtor, or someone that matches your particular business. If you're a mortgage lender, and and people are saying, thank you for being my loan officer, you'll want to reply with keywords in your response as well, because again, all that information is being indexed and that SEO is building. So take every opportunity to reply to a review utilizing keywords. Yes, Narissa, are you raising your hand? Okay. All right. So there, products. Products is another way for you to get your information out there. Now, this is an old screenshot, and I leave it up here because it's a good example of what you can do and how you can utilize products. When I learned that I could do products, I was like, whoa, what do you mean? I thought that was for someone who was actually selling something, but no. If you have a listing, create your listing as a product. If you're doing open houses, do your open house as a product. I use my website and I still have it up there as a product because I want people to go to my website. And when they do, my website tells me, hey, you have a new lead, and they tell you the source. And I'll tell you what, 9 times out of 10, that source is Google. I had no idea how many people were going on to my page and then to my website. So, you always want to use the products and then make sure that when you do the products, they link back to your website, like create a landing page for a listing and then use that as the link in your product. So it links to that actual landing page. We want to get more activity on our website. So this is a great way to do that. When you're looking at posts, I love it because not a lot of people are utilizing their profile listings. And sometimes I'm like, well, why do I share this with everyone? Because I'm like one of the few that is doing this. But you know what? Collaboration is essential in this industry. I'm not in competition with anybody else. If you're out there killing it, I'm gonna be like, go girl, right? So look at how often people are updating and feeding Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Take that and repurpose it and use it for posts on your Google business profile listing. So here's an example of one that I repurposed. Well, actually, I didn't repurpose it because I stopped using this on other platforms because too many people were doing it. So I now create my social posts on my profile listing. So, a quick Canva image, some information there. I always try to include my contact information. Why? 1, because I want them to have it in front of them. 2, because I know that Google is constantly looking behind the scenes for reasons to put me in front of other people. So the more repetitive my contact information is, the greater the likelihood that I'm going to come up in these searches. So just you want to do the posts because they help you get noticed, they help you be suggested. If you're doing a client appreciation party, post it as an event. I promise you the average Joe Blow walking down the street isn't just going to pop up at your client event. But if people see that you're doing these activities, that you're providing updates, market updates or whatever, they're going to start, you're going to start being top of mind, and Google's going to reward you for it. So, and again, it's 100% free. When you're looking at The question and answer section. A lot of people don't just go to your page and start asking questions, okay? So you want to ask questions that you yourself can answer, because it takes the average consumer several clicks to be able to realize that you are the one that answered the question in the first place. Look at commonly asked questions in your business and provide a response. So, you know, as realtors, we get a lot of questions. Well, what is an option period? What's option money? What's earnest money? What's buyer's representation? Should I do a home inspection? Should I sell my property before I buy a new one? There's so many things that you can ask and then provide the answer yourself. And now you've built up data there for Google to search and screen through. And you're talking about buying houses, you're talking about home inspections, you're talking about real estate terminology. Oh my gosh, this person's a realtor. Someone's asking for a realtor. Someone Googled and said, what's option money? And now all of a sudden your question and answer is popping up in front of them. So again, you're building that location authority, you're branding yourself, and you're coming up in these search, you know, in the searches, and that SEO is flowing. All right, so another way that you can build upon is your service section. Now, unless you are Google screen, this is not forward facing, okay? But just because it isn't forward facing doesn't mean it's not important. I will say over and over again, Google is watching. Google is watching. So if you're saying you provide seller representation, you provide buyer representation, you do military relocation, new construction, Google sees that and someone's looking to I'm a first-time buyer, San Antonio, Texas. Well, it's in the behind the scenes data on my listing. So they're going to, Google might say, hey, here's Tammy, look at Tammy. And I'm going to say, thank you, Google. So build that out. Okay. Attributes. I think attributes is important as well. Now, for some reason, Google doesn't like that I identify as more than one race. So it has removed Latino owned and only left up Black owned. And it doesn't matter how many times I add it, I apparently can't be two. But go into your attributes section, click on the items that pertain to you. If you're woman owned, click it. Latino, veteran, Black owned, there's so many things. If you're in an office, how accessible is it? Are there amenities? And then there's a section on crowd. Are you LGBTQ friendly? There's so many ways, you know, and someone might be looking for an LGBT friendly agent, and that's what they'll type up. And lo and behold, you pop up there. Now, if you really aren't, don't put that, right? Because I mean, I've seen some people add stuff and then what they say and what they put in there don't match up. So just make sure you are matching up. Here soon, Google is going away from allowing us to manage it online. They're going to Google Maps. I have played around with it. I personally like being able to manage it online. It's so much smoother and efficient, but download Google Maps if you don't have it. That way, when they completely move over to Google Maps, you're ahead of the curve, because there's going to be some people who haven't logged into their accounts for a long time, going to be like, whoa, what just happened, right? So on Google Maps, when you pull it up, you're going to see your little face in this upper right-hand corner. So you're going to click on there, okay? Next, you're going to see down here where it says your business profiles. Here's my business profile. Once I click on there, now I would click on here to get to to get to my business page on Google Maps. So I recommend that you start while it's still online. Get in there, play around with it, add images, do some posts, update your information, because once it moves to Google Maps, it will be a little more cumbersome to do all the stuff that you could do online fairly quickly. Now, I know that was a lot of information. It's like drinking from a fire hose, but I'm going to switch from the presentation in a minute and kind of walk you through some of the stuff that I talked about on my actual page. But following those steps will help you get your profile listing up and running and start maximizing that free tool, okay? So the goal here is to help you dominate location authority with your Google business profile. Again, get to 100 geophoto tagged apps as soon as possible. And I'll walk you through how I geotag a photo. Start posting at least three times a week. Sometimes I'll post twice a day and then I'll get busy and I'll forget and I'll come back and I'll post another time. But just try to have some consistency with it. Create products that link back to your website. Get reviews. Now, reviews don't have to be from just your clients. So if you're out there teaching, reviews can come from people that you're teaching. You can provide a review on another agent that you worked with, or another agent may write one on you. Just think of, if somebody's provided you excellent service or was great to work with, why not review them? Okay, because I know that the more you review others, Google loves that too. Start asking and answering your own questions. Put a system in place. So my mornings usually are get the kid out the door, try to upload at least one photo, try to do a post. I don't always do it because then of course I want to do a reel too, so there's a struggle. But you want to make sure that you have some sort of system in place, or you're consistently feeding your page. Get Google Screen. I keep saying that, I keep preaching it. I just don't want to walk through the steps, but I'm going to. So I'm going to see if I can switch screens here. Let me exit this presentation. Now, can you see my screen still? Okay, great. So here is GeoImager. All right. Now I'm just going to take any random photo. Downloads, let's say I want to geotag this, okay? Okay, now, let me clear here because it already had stuff. Let me do it again. Oh, never mind. You know what? I'm getting the wrong photo because it is already geotagged. That's why it keeps putting it down there. Is that one geotagged? Oh, here, while I'm thinking about it. You see when I'm hovering over there? Can you see do you see the tags? So that's how I know that I've already tagged that photo. So it tells you what I've put in there. So I'm going to take this one since it's not geotagged and just for shits and giggles. So I'm going to tag it to
that would be a great tag for shits and giggles.
Right. So I've entered my address in here, right? Oh, I entered my name. I just got to type Tami PR and it brings up my business profile. I've done it so much. I always keep open a document that I work from because I'm kind of lazy, right? I don't want to type them out every single time. So now I'm going to come drop those keywords into the keywords and tags right here. when I entered my office location, the longitude and the latitude dropped here, but now it's here. So I have everything that I need to tag this photo. Come on, write my tags. And you see how it said photo tag? Now, if I download it, that image is now geotagged to a location, and it has my keywords in there. I'm not going to upload that one, but I will. I'll upload it. I can just easily delete it too. So let's say I wanted to upload it. I'm going to go here. Come on. Google doesn't want to play nice today. And then again, you can always check. See, it has all the tags in there, right? And now I have a fully geotagged photo that I've uploaded. Now I'm just going to go click on it and delete it because people are going to be like, what's this random picture? So one, I'm going to show you the power of having geotagged photos. Let me find it because Google emailed me this morning. Give me a second. Okay. Can you see that? And now I have a lot of photos, but that's how many views I had this month, in the last month, on my photos on my profile listing. Photos are important. So here's just a snapshot of what I've uploaded, right? You know, you post and I rarely do these because I don't like, it's not, but he wanted to do it. But I take things that I have that I'm using elsewhere and I upload them here. So I geotag them. I take reviews and I create a Canva image so that I can upload those as photos. And it's crazy what people look, the photos that people spend more time on. But in this corner here, you can see how many times each photo was viewed. One of my favorite photos that I never understand, Victoria, that was viewed like so many times. Like now, more recently, look at that, 170 views on this photo of a bedroom, right? Windrock, which is a listing that Miss Victoria fully staged for me. There was a master bedroom picture that got like an unbelievable amount of views. But you have to keep in mind that when people are looking, they're looking at your photos and they're making connections with you. So, you can see, different ones have, how many views each one has. Okay, we'll go to information. So this is where all that information I talked about will fall. So you see I have my office address. There's 13 areas that I service. Okay. I have hours of operation in there. If there's holidays, do you have a question, Victoria?
I'm just amazed how much higher your traffic is than mine. And our content is very similar. Obviously, and some of the content is identical because obviously some of our projects are the same project, but
right.
the geotagging and the keywords must be key to some of this. So,
well, I will tell you, once I started geotagging and putting keywords in there, I found that it opened up like the internet for me, it seemed like. So yeah. And I'll show you insights here in a minute. So the phone
Yeah,
number
I've
that
been
I
feeling
will,
like hot stuff when I got like 150 viewings, and I'm like, oh my God, 150, I'm so popular. And you're like 150,000. I'm like, oh, I did nothing.
but and again, so it was October that kind of this light came on about using what was then Google My Business. So you got to understand, I got down in the weeds and I really taught myself a lot because no one really taught me. And there was nowhere you could really go to really learn. So I took bits and pieces from different places and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to create a training on it. So I train on this at least once a month inside my brokerage with our Real Academy. But I thought, you know what? I've gone to other brokerages, I've done trainings for others because I think that it's critical that in this industry we help each other out. So, lots and lots of hours that I have spent on trying to figure this out. So here's where that, how I identify the accessibility, amenities, crowd, health and safety, service options. I'm going to tell you what, I used to have a Calendly link on my profile listing. If you are someone that has the time to manage 2 calendars, go for it, because I have had at least 6 people schedule buyer and seller consultations directly from my business page. But the problem with that is they usually schedule that sometime that I already had something scheduled because I didn't think to go to the Calendly link to update it there. And I'm like, oh, so if you're someone who will be able to manage multiple calendars, do it, because I've literally had someone email me and tell a pre-approval letter. And I'm like, that's not my client. And they said, well, they told me they were your client. I'm like, I've never heard of this person. And, fast forward another day, they're like, oh, she is your client. You just don't know it yet. And within 25 minutes of that phone call, there was a buyer's consultation scheduled on my site. Oh, okay, all right, oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to reach out to you sooner. But, people love the ease of it. But because I'm a control freak, I had to take Calendly off of there.
I'm so glad to know that I'm not the only one who can't do the Calendly.
I can't do it.
Personally schedule the appointment.
I do. I have to do it now, because I'm a one-woman show. Here are, so again,
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
When you're talking about uploading like this one, posts and photos, those are 2 separate things, right? Because I'm looking over here to the left and it says posts and down below it says photos, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I double dip as often as I can, right? So I may upload a static image if it can speak for itself. But then if I want to do a post allows you to add an image. You can type out wording. Okay. Again, I always put in my contact information here, and then I put a call now button. So like I just posted that yesterday, but you can see here, they don't get as many views as actual static photos. But again, the purpose of having them there is that you are putting in information for Google to constantly screen and look for, right? So so like I uploaded this as a static image, but I also did a post about it. When you're posting, if you're not going to offer something like, let's say I wanted to, because I do a free staging consultation for listings. Well, the average consumer doesn't know that's part of my services already. So I'm going to offer free staging consultation from May 1st through May 30th, right? If you book now, So, but when you're looking at what's new, you want to upload your photo here. Okay. You want to write your post here. Now, when you're writing out a post, double space between paragraphs, because when Google's kind of funny at times. So I always double space, and that way I can go, once I preview it here, let me just fake a post real quick. Which one is that? Interest rates. I'm going to go down here.
When you first started, because I'm following along with you and I'm trying to do, create mine. It's asking for like business photos, and I'm just wondering, I can go in and edit after, right? We can edit everything after.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, so you'll want to like your business photos. So is it asking for logo and headshot?
It just says add photos of your business, show off your products or services.
Yeah, your business is real estate. Add houses, add Canva creations, right? Because your business is real estate. And I think people get confused when they say business related photos, because they're thinking, oh, okay, well, what do I put a picture of a sign?
Yeah. And you can go to places like pexels.com or unsplash.com and get unlicensed, unroyalty stock photos to
Drop
put
that
up
in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh God. Didn't mean to hit publish. So let me go up there. So, well, then this will be a good way, because you see how when you space, it has a little more information in there.
Yeah.
A little more white space. If you don't double space, it will it'll have all of your information bleed into each other. So I meant to hit preview. So always hit preview before you post. Insights. Here is, when you look at insights, it'll give you some information so that you can utilize to see how people are finding you. And what's awesome is you see the number of people who found me directly was only 10.8%. They were actually looking for my business or my business name or my address. Discovery, 88.6% of my business showing up in searches were because people were looking for a category, product, or service, right? So that's 86.6. Now, if we go for a quarter, 6,200 times I appeared in searches just from people looking for products, categories, or services. This tells you whether they found you on a listing search or a listing match. Number of people that visited my website in the last month from my Google profile listing. Number that requested directions, and how many people called me. 78247, someone loves me in that zip code because for some reason every month I have more direction requests from 78247. Now, you can always tell when Tammy's decided to upload more photos. But here's the beauty of this here. If you look at how many views on photos businesses like mine had in the last month, it was, I always want to say 1.78 million because we talk real estate all the time, right? It was less than 1,800. I had over 19,000 views, right? Now, if we go to a quarter, that's 56,000 views. It used to have some data here that would really illustrate why, and I'm going to tell you. The average business only has about 6 to 7 photos on their profile. So one way to win big with Google, geotag photos and upload them. I went back when it clicked on, when the light bulb clicked for me, I went back and I geotagged 20 to 30 photos a day from listings that I had previously sold. Not only did I do that, but I geotagged them all to their address, right? Because that way we're talking location authority. I'm showing up in people's searches in different areas of town. So there's another performance metric that you can look at. So what I like to look at, I want to find, here we go. So when you're talking keywords, these are the keywords that brought me up in searches, right? So there's more of them. Some of them I laugh at. So realtor, real broker, Tami Price, Zillow, realtor.com, female realtors in San Antonio. Whoop, whoop. Stone Oak, San Antonio. Somebody Googled a different suite in my office and I still came up. For some reason.
Best realtor in San Antonio. Yeah.
Do what?
Best realtor in San Antonio.
Black-owned realtors. Okay. Yeah, Black-owned realtor San Antonio, brokerages in San Antonio. But it just shows you here how people.
Custom animal? What?
Oh, liquor store near me. I don't know why I'm coming up as a liquor store, but look. The key is look at 1 through 12, right? So, and it even came up with realtors. So those, and since I'm, that just shows you, because these ones here are embedded in my keywords, right? So my keywords are helping me get noticed by more people. Oh, let me go back there again. So again, it shows you calls, messages. I don't get messages. I took my Calendly link off, website clicks. You see that? Since November, I've had 249 website clicks from my Google profile listing. Put your website in there, people. Let's see, what else? Oh, let me go home. I want to go home. Oh. And then if you want to share to get more reviews, you can actually take the share review form, copy the link, and send it to someone. Because a lot of times when you're just sending them, you're trying to send them, copy and paste whatever's up here, it doesn't work. And I learned that the hard way. So you can share this via Facebook, Twitter, email, copy and paste it into an email, copy and paste in a text message to get more reviews. But yeah. Any questions? I know I went through that fairly quick.
What is your method of garnering reviews? Like after each transaction, do you have a form text or email that you send out? That's like probably my biggest hurdle.
It's a struggle, right? Because people are more apt to go and want to provide a negative review than they are when someone's taken great care of them. So I usually will ask. I let them know early on the process that my goal is to provide them with excellent service, and I would love it at the end of the process if they would provide me a review. Before closing, I usually send out a pretty detailed email that talks about closings in sight, and inside there I walk through a number of steps, and then I thank them. I thank them for the opportunity to work with them. I include information that says, it's been a pleasure working with you. I would love it if, you know, my business runs on referrals. I would love it if you would take the opportunity to review me on one of these sites, right? I also, when I find the time, I use a platform called Ogvo. Now, I got to go in there, I enter their contact information, but once I do that and I activate it, Ogvo will email them a couple of times. They'll text them a couple of times asking to provide me a review on Google. I realize that sometimes people get busy, and like one I sent out in January, he just did it last week, but he just got busy, right? So I try not to oversaturate, but you know, and I'll say, hey, have you gotten a chance to review me? And some of them will say, I already did it. Google is finicky. I have about 10 reviews that are being hidden. Now, they won't hide the ones where somebody else's client was a douche hat and decided to write negative reviews on everybody. They weren't even, you know, not even a client of mine. And anyway, I have some really glowing reviews, because they'll like, I did that, and they'll screenshot and send it to me. If someone's like, oh, Tami was so amazing, you know, she's part of our family, or we went out on holidays and Tami made it happen, and it's just, oh, it's just beautiful. Google's going to be like, fake, hide, fake, hide. So like, you have some clients that want to write a book. Google doesn't like the books.
Yeah. But then you can overcome that by creating a Canva.
You can, by creating a Canva image, or, you know, I will say, you know what, thank you for doing that. Would you take the time to provide me a review on realtor.com instead, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, realtor.com is where I have the bulk of mine. For years, that's where I concentrated on, because now I can take that, slap it on an image, and then now it's there on Google as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been a challenge of mine, is both the courage to ask in the first place, because it seems kind of I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard, and it, you know, and I will tell people, you know how you found me on Google and you said it was my reviews. If you would be so kind as to write a review so that the next person looking for a realtor in San Antonio, Texas, knows of your experience and might use your review as a basis for contacting me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you had any experience with, I know like sometimes in R.I.S.E we have, you know, follow Fridays or whatever, where we help each other by providing reviews for each other. And we've done it infrequently, simply because it seems like not a good idea to saturate one another's profiles with reviews. Have you had any experience with oversaturation of reviews and having them be hidden versus allowed to show?
I haven't had that experience. I'm trying to, where did they go? So like, I'll show you. Let me see if I can find, like, here. I did this training for another group, right? And after the training, several of them went and provided me and went and reviewed me on Google. I didn't have any issue with, you know, when they did that. So there was two that immediately did it after the training, went and gave me a review on Google. But I do know that if, let's say, 25 people went out and started reviewing your page today, there is a greater likelihood that Google may say, hey, it's a bot. These aren't real, you know, it might be a bot doing this. So it may start hiding those if there's too many at one time.
I experienced that. I just find and I don't have a lot. I only had 5, but I think they all did it at the same time or the same day. And one
Yeah.
of them is hidden because I asked my, she's a friend, she's a realtor.
Yeah.
Hey, can you do a review? She's like, I already did it. And she took a screenshot of it.
Yep.
But it's not showing up in my
It'll show up on hers that she's
Yeah.
done it, but it'll hide
Yeah.
from you for
It's
some
weird.
reason. And
Yeah.
I don't know how to rectify that. I really don't. I've looked into it, and I just realized I spelled thank you wrong. But squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think Google likes it when people pounce on a page and start providing review after review. But I will tell you, I think in 1 week, I might have gotten 15 reviews in 1 week, and out of those 2 were hidden. But now those 2 were books. So I think that also had something to do with it.
Okay. Yeah. I did want to share also one of the things that I learned in a different class, and that I had to do when you mentioned at the beginning, when you're starting out your account, if you share your office with other people, if you add a suite number, if they're sending you the postcard, that will help, because in my building, there's other people already with the address, so it wouldn't let me. So they told me, okay, add a suite, it up, and then it will send you the postcard. So that helps.
Right. Yeah. So you want to enter yours character for character, like I'm Suite 101. And what's funny is I moved offices sometime in September, but just inside the same building. They kept my suite number the same because they didn't want it to mess with my profile. Yeah. Any other questions? Any part of this more helpful than others?
Oh my God, it's amazing. I think all of the detail, everything that you walked us through, it's great, great info. I have like tons of yes, it's really, really helpful. And we thank you for your time, Tami.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we're going to go ahead and share this in the group as soon as it downloads. And
Okay.
that way we can share it with everyone because it's really great information. I think I didn't know like all the things that you could do there. Like
I know.
and I thought it was a lot.
I didn't know either.
Yeah.
I didn't know either. So, in October, I really just decided that I wanted to educate myself and learn a little bit more and take full advantage of this, because Google is like utilized daily, right? And then after I taught myself, I had a couple of friends ask, "Oh, can you help me?" And I'm like, "Wow, why don't I just put a training together and offer it out?"
I have to say, I'm so thankful for people like you who, first of all, have the patience to teach themselves these things. And secondly, have the generosity of spirit to teach others, because I come across things like these and I'm like, I'm out, goodbye.
Right.
So
it actually was easy. As I just kind of went through it as you were doing it, and I can go back later and update it, but this to me seems like it's Google social media. That's what it feels like.
And that's why I kept saying, treat it like any other social media account, because while it's not a social media account, if you think of it that way, you're going to start interacting with it more, right? You're going to upload your photos. You're going to do some posts. But if you just look at it as, oh, I'm out there on Google. Okay, you're out there on Google, but you're doing nothing with it. So it's not helping you. I treat it like a social account. So there's, like I might even upload a picture when I'm on vacation. Just, you know, just anything that humanizes you, but also shows your business side and what you're doing. People are like, well, who cares about a photo of a bedroom? Obviously people care.
107 people.
Obviously people care. And, you know, I mean, look at all the money we pay for photography. I mean, and I have photos that go back years. So if I don't have anything, I'm just going to upload some random photos from an old listing because I paid for them. And I know that I need to keep feed the beast.
Well,
But
can I
I
ask,
have one question. What are the major changes you see, like from a logistical point of view, from the changes from the Google My Business to Google Maps? Because that's the one thing I've been scared of. I was like, dude, I just like started doing this on Google My
Right.
Business. Now you're trying to switch it all up.
So it's also new, right? It's also new. I can still upload stuff from my Google Business app. Well, let me look at it real quick. Because I
Yeah,
think
it's still working for me.
it's still working. So I haven't really, like, if I'm out and about, I will just upload from the Google My Business app. But
Right.
with Maps, it just seems to me, I don't think that I'm going to be able to do as much as I used to do. I really don't. So that's why I'm saying start, do as much as you can, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to do posts and all that once it goes over. Like you can still add photos because there's, you know, I'm on Google Maps now. So you can still go in there and you can add photos from there. But, you know, unless you have location services enabled on your phone, those photos won't have geotags. So, you know, there's still a lot that I've got to learn about the Google Maps because it's something that they're moving towards.
I don't understand why they would shut that down.
Well, there was some issues. Congress got involved, and anyway, if they felt like it gave certain businesses an unfair advantage, but I'm sorry, if you're not utilizing it in your business and someone else is utilizing it on a regular basis, they deserve an unfair advantage. My 2 cents.
True that. Agree. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll have to learn stuff.
Me too, because I've spent all this time learning and honing this, and you know, now I'll just have to figure out how to do it another way.
Yeah. Well, if anybody can, it's you.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
So anybody else with questions for Tami before we conclude? I'm sure everybody has a ton of notes.
Let me see what's in the chat. I just saw. Okay, pexels.com. I am going to look at those.
Yes, pexels.com and unsplash.com. They both operate similarly in that they have a search bar where you can enter in keywords. So for instance, yesterday I had a question for the Shift Talk group about a chimney cleaner. So I entered chimney in the search bar just so I could have a picture to post with my question, and that's how I had a picture to post with my question. Okay. So I use that a bunch when I create you know, like slides for presentations and things like that, but all of the images are royalty free and free to use, so you never have to worry about licensing issues or anything like that.
Okay. Cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome. Narissa, do you have anything to say before we leave?
Just thank you so much. I know you're super busy, Tammy, but this has been super informative. I'm in there now. I'm like a little guinea pig on a laptop.
Yeah, yeah.
Creative.
I mean, when you look at when you look at how powerful it is as a free tool.
Mhm.
I mean, I pay $10 a month for GeoImager. It's well worth the $10 a month, right? You know, and then I already had Canva. So when you look at your insights and you look at how many times people have gone to my website and how, you know, I've closed business off of this. I had a guy pull me up on, you know, realtors near me, literally walked to my office. And thankfully it was one of those days where I was late. I was there late. They called me from the desk and they said, "You have someone here." What are you talking about? He lived in an apartment complex around the corner, pulled me up on Google Maps and walked to my office.
Wow.
I sold him a home we went under contract. So it was December that he walked in. January, we started looking. February, we closed on his home. $295,000 sale.
Wow.
He just Googled, and apparently he just Googled realtors near me and walked to the office.
So many people need to hear this because a lot of new agents or maybe veteran agents, they think things like this are not necessary for their business. But by you testifying like something that easy, that's why it's so important to put your location, because he Googled near me.
Yep.
I'm gonna be like all the locations.
Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, I mean, I can tie since the beginning of the year, at least 4 closings to, because it always tells you where they come in from.
Yeah.
You know, I've closed well over 1.5 million just from ones that started on Google since the beginning of the year.
That's awesome.
And with the amount of saturation that's in San Antonio in terms of how many realtors there are, and I've experienced this even as a stager, which is a less saturated market. When someone recommends you, like, you know, when someone asks for a stager recommendation in Shift Talk, let's say, and everybody's like, "Oh, Victoria is the best. Victoria is the best. Victoria is the best." Well, is Victoria the best? Maybe, maybe not. But they're talking about their personal experience with me, because people do business with those they know, like, and trust. People can only know, like, and trust you if they get the opportunity to do so. Right. And so this is about providing that opportunity.
Correct.
If you don't provide that opportunity, you never can have that know, like, trust factor. So you never can have people saying Victoria is the best, Tammy's the best, R.I.S.E is the best, Africa is the best. Because honestly, to be the absolute objective best is not really possible in any given field. No. You're the best to that person. You're the best in that situation. You're the best to that person. So it's about opportunity, and it's about providing that opportunity. And this is that in. Correct.
This is an opportunity for you to put yourself out there, to have to stand out amongst the others and get that business coming into you so that they can get to know, like, and trust you. They're gonna, if you're getting reviews, they start liking you just in reviews because they see what your clients are saying. And if over and over again, they're talking about how great you are, how they consider you like family, or how much care you took care of them. For me, a lot of them are like, Tammy's a veteran and she helped us and she's knowledgeable on VA loans. I'm more apt to get people to look to me that need help, that have VA loans. But you know, when you give yourself that opportunity to be found, discovered, now you're helping business come to you versus Now I'm walking the street and I'm door knocking. No, man, he pulled me up on Google Maps and came to me. I
Yeah.
want people coming to me.
Right.
But I'm, and I'm allowing that to happen by putting in the work, right? I don't want to door knock. I won't door knock. That's just not my thing.
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
sorry. I'm a little
most
too fishy.
people find door knocking horrifying. Like I never in my
Yeah.
life, like that's my idea of a nightmare. Like I never,
Yeah.
even as a kid, when we were doing magazine sale for
Yeah.
like fundraising, I'm just like, how much is it going to take? Like I will go
Yeah.
to my
Oh my
piggy
gosh.
bank and just give you money. What will it take for me not to do this?
When I first started in real estate, everybody's like, you got to door knock. I wouldn't door knock, but I would do, because this is pre all this stuff we have now. I would walk neighborhoods
Yeah.
and leave like door hanger bags. And I would take my kids with me. My kids were more apt to still go to a door where there was a person than mama. If there was a person out there, I was like, next house. Even the idea.
Yes,
Even the
yes.
idea of getting caught by someone and having to engage in conversation was so aversive to me that I would literally walk around them and not stop at their house. And my kids would be like, they'd hand it to them because they knew they helped me walk that neighborhood. They were going out for whatever it was I promised them for putting in the work.
Yeah.
Oh, yo.
Even cold calling. I'm like, please be a voicemail.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
But
cool.
makes
So,
it so it's a warm lead.
yeah,
Basically, you're paving the path for yourself, and
right.
that's I think what's so beautiful to me about the technology that's available today is that you really can warm up an audience for yourself, so that like for somebody who is like me, who is really a natural introvert, when I walk into a room where people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, it's Victoria. I'm like, hi, doll. Have I met you before? Oh my God.
Africa and I say that all the time. We're like, hi. And we look at each other. I don't know what you do.
Oh,
I'm like, who is this? Have I met her?
That's me. And it's not that I don't want to know, but I'm getting old. I cannot take in too much more information without saying, you need to go so I can create new information.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's wonderful because, it's now walking into a room is like, it's opportunity rather than, oh my God, like nobody knows me and nobody is going to like me. And instead it's a warm and welcoming thing. And it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a call from California where he started on Google, went to my website and then called me. But, and so I think that for people who aren't taking advantage of this, they're missing so many opportunities. Now, everything doesn't, just like any other form of lead generation, not every lead pans out, but dude, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
So, and you don't have to pay for it. I don't have to pay for it. Yeah.
I love $3.99.
Yep.
We love free things.
Because I got a kid with high dollar taste.
Yeah. I hear you.
I got 4 of them.
Awesome.
This was amazing. You are a fount of just knowledge and information and just generosity of spirit, as always.
Always happy to help.
Thank you for your time, Tami.
Thank you, Tami.
All right. Take care, guys.
Love you.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye. Victoria, Africa, y'all stay.
Okay.
Yes.
You may not leave. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Let me stop the recording.
I hope everybody, Melanie, Melissa, I know